Why is it important to understand how the metacognitive process works? Because such understanding can be used to guide the behaviors and decisions of both students and teachers who in fact act and design teaching learning experiences. The key components of the metacognitive process, identified in the 1990 by Nelson and Narens in one of the most well-known frameworks, are two. The first is monitoring, that is, the gathering of information about the level of learning achieved in relation to the subject of study, which stimulates the process of reflection. The second is control, that is, how the information gathered during the reflection phase guides subsequent behaviors. Monitoring and control are closely related. If the information collected by a student during the monitoring phase is accurate and the subsequent reflection is effective, there is a good chance that the following control process, and therefore the study itself, will also be effective. There are numerous models, but what they all emphasize is that moments of reflection and metacognition must lead the student to gather meaningful data, which then stimulates reasoning about how they arrived at answering questions related to the subject of study. Attention, this means encouraging reflection not only on the knowledge of information and data developed in terms of memorization, application, evaluation, and so on, but also on the development of transversal skills and competencies that are typically employed, for example, during activities such as discussion, application, research, and production. But what practical strategies can teachers use to stimulate reflection and metacognitive processes? In some contexts, all of this takes place separately from the lessons, either at the beginning or at the end of the course. For example, initial questionnaires are administered to record expectations and goals, and final questionnaires ask students to describe the path they followed and the level they reached in terms of learning outcomes. However, the teacher can also use various strategies that support students' metacognitive skills within the lesson and throughout the course. A first, very simple strategy is related to the type of questions posed during lessons. Instead of asking students, "Did you understand?" it's better to ask specific and targeted questions that encourage reflection on the what, how, when, and why of the information presented. The teacher can also propose retrieval and self-assessment activities that encourage reflection on the actual knowledge acquired and its transferability to other contexts. For example, they can ask students to create concept maps related to the methods and processes used, or offer hybrid quizzes, and so on. It is always important to provide rich feedback that may also offer suggestions for improving the study process. It is also possible to encourage students to schedule study sessions distributed over time, for example by offering short periodic tests administered in class, which may have only a small impact on the final grade. Spacing is a strategy studied by cognitive psychology experts who highlight its positive results in promoting long-term learning. This happens both because spacing involves a retrieval activity between one study session and the next, and because study sessions spread out over time allow students to identify their gaps in knowledge, thereby encouraging reflection and metacognitive processes, as well as variation in the intensity and methods of studying.